Malcolm, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're so excited to see more of your work in the gallery.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for bringing me on the podcast, and let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's get started. You grew up in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, born and raised, okay. 135%.
That's awesome. So what first drew you to photographing different parts of Jacksonville?
From studying photography and studying a lot of street photographers and seeing how they took a lot of a keen interest in certain communities that they dealt with, I kind of took that under my wing. And also through that process, a lot of stories that my dad told me about old LaVille in the 70s and 80s. That stuff always resonated with me, but there's not too many photographs of that work that's being shown to the public. So I was blessed to know about those type of stories and, visually see some of those things. So I kind of was like, well, I would take that upon myself for the future generation. So whatever Main Street or the neighborhoods that I'm at the time, whatever they may look like now, whatever they may look like in 30 years, at least we'll have documentation of what they might have been from this point. Hopefully better, hopefully not worse, but at least there'll be a documented ordeal. So.
Wow. It sounds like you have a lot of family support to pursue this.
Yeah, it took a while, of course. If you're not a football player, doctor, pharmacist, a doctor too. So if you're not in one of those type of fields, of course, you're in Jacksonville, your parents look at you telling them, you don't know. And then, when they see a few shows that I've done over the past couple of years, they've been very, very supportive. And they've been very supportive about Jacksonville history. They taught me at a very young age where I come from and who came from this place, and I've always had a lot of pride instilled in me, so no matter where I go, definitely.
Are there certain neighborhoods that you like to photograph more than others, or is it a variety?
Variety, but majority of my work right now is based in Springfield, Eastside, Northwest Jacksonville. I practically grew up in all of those areas, primarily Springfield, Eastside. My whole family's from Northwest Jacksonville area. So those are just the ones that I just frequent to the most, but wherever the car stopped, pretty much where the camera goes. So
right,
you're always ready.
Yeah, but also too, in today's time, when you're looking at Jacksonville through photos, you don't see too many of those areas in a more positively realistic light. That makes sense. We see the news all the time in these areas, so some people might know these neighborhoods through the news, but they're not necessarily the most positive ordeal. But I might know that particular person that might have been on the news talking about the violence, this, that, and the third, and then you go to these neighborhoods again and photograph, and you really get to meet these particular people, and it's a whole different ball game. So I did kind of take a little bit of a, what's the term I'm looking for here? I just pushed myself into that situation to be the guy to document and tell the correct story for that area. And it's also funny how some people do look at my work. Half of the people that seen it will be like, man, I've never seen, this side of town like this before. They don't even know that it's there. And then the other half of people that have seen town say, hey, man, like, that's my grandma's house. Like, I thank you for taking a picture of my grandma's house. So it's been a humbling thing, and it's such a blessing to be able to do that and for people to embrace me doing this because, I don't necessarily ask for permission. When I take photographs of people like that. I know today's time that might be a little bit on the sensitive side. I have to be careful of, but I think to get the realness, that's the only way I know how to approach it right now. So I'm thankful that the community supports me and embraces me with love anytime I have my camera out.
Yeah, definitely. So having been born and raised in Jacksonville, 135%, as you said, I bet you've noticed a lot of changes, especially in the Springfield East Side area. What changes have you noticed?
It's a lot more breweries on Main Street.
That's one way to say it, yeah.
It's growing up as a kid, Main Street and the East Side was a pretty rough area. It was at some point, certain parts of Main Street you couldn't even drive down if you didn't have a firearm for safety. It was very, very rough. It's still citizens to this day that will not drive down Main Street because of what they've seen or experienced in that time period. And that came with the deconstruction of La Villa and whatnot, because a lot of those residents moved from La Villa and they just moved north and east. And as time has gone by, I noticed, at least as far as how Main Street has come about now, I've noticed a lot of people that are starting the businesses are from the area now. So they are starting to give back, but it's still a little different. Like, these are still heavily African American neighborhoods, and it's still not a lot of African American presence being towards the forefront. But for some of the businesses, I can speak as far as on the Main Street side of things, they are hiring people from the neighborhood who are predominantly African American that live in the neighborhood. So it's good and bad on that side of the fence. But right now I can say it's changing for the better at this present time. But we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah. What was your relationship like with the library growing up?
Oh, man. My grandma used to take me to the library. I grew up going to the library on Edgewood, the
Murray Hill branch?
Yeah.
The super big one on Edgewood in Northwest Jacksonville.
Oh, the Brown Brooks branch.
Yes, that one. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to think it was like Bruce Wayne's Manor, because it was so big. And I was like, that's what
it's
Batman
huge,
was.
Yeah.
So I used to go to that one all the time, and that's where I got my first library card, and I used to go there. And just over time being around the different branches, and it was always a place where I can go read, or even before we had the internet and stuff, I can go get on the internet and learn about what, things like that in nature and whatnot. So the library has always been infused in my life and continue to be, either with the main library now, or even going to the Dunn Avenue location every now and again, even for a conference or something, big or small. The library always plays a big part in the community. So when it was time to do this show here, it was no brainer. Yes.
Right. Right. So tell us a little bit about the work you have in this show, Jacksonville, A Tale of My City.
Okay. Basically what I did with the work, when Shawana brought the idea to me, with consolidation, I was like, well, let's just put, the size of talent that most of these people may know about. Let's put it out there for show in the forefront. Let's let them see the reality of what we are living with, and show some the true loving nature of these neighborhoods. With the Springfield East Side and Northwest Jacksonville and some North Side work, these are very strong, tight-knit communities. Like, you go to most of these communities, everybody knows everybody. Like, the North Side is a big side of town, but I promise you, everybody knows everybody. So it's a very tight-knit community, and I kind of want to show that through the work. Even like with one of my favorite photographs up there is with the dirt bikes. Just seeing the other guy pushing them on to keep doing the wheelie. I mean, yeah, that might be dangerous, but just that small little moment right there, just showing that, he really cares about him pushing himself creatively or whatnot like that. And just showing the reality of the neighborhoods that we do live in. I mean, there's another photograph with a guy standing by Hogan's Creek. And Hogan's Creek has been, in very, very bad shape probably over the past 15, 20 years, and just showing the realities of that. And it's not too far from downtown, and downtown supposed to be this big, gigantic beauty jewel, but you got that right there behind you. So, just trying to show the reality, and that, Jacksonville is beautiful, but it is what it is in certain areas too. And we look to the community to help with that. So that's what I tried to show with this work.
Yeah, I think you really captured kind of the heart of the community that not everyone sees. Like you said, people see the news headlines when they're not so positive, but I think a lot of your works really got to the heart of these communities, which is really important for us to see, especially in this show.
Yeah, definitely. And, and showing some things like traditional stuff, like with the giant green Chevy. I think that's in the middle of the gallery. That's a personal favorite of mine, too. Just showing things like that, because that's a very Jacksonville thing too. I mean, anybody can come in here and they can say, I've seen one of those cars somewhere, probably a few minutes ago. So just putting a lot of those key things to tell the story of Jacksonville, because that is just as important in Jacksonville as everything else too. So definitely.
Yeah. And being so young, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but you look young.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 25.
Yeah, okay. And
I didn't have no choice being born like that.
No, being so young and realizing the importance of, capturing the neighborhoods as they are now to archive for future generations is, something to really value, and that's super important.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and again, that just goes back to why I kind of got into doing this style of work. It was, whatever Jacksonville may be in the next 30 or 40 years, these kids need to see proof of what Jacksonville was. And so they can tell their kids and whatnot, hey, this is what I come from. Look what you have. Be proud of where you come from. People all say all the time, well, I need to leave Jacksonville. Why? You can't give me a real reason why. Well, I'm going to show this work to show you why you need to keep pride in this particular place, because you're going to end up coming back here. You want these people to accept you the same way that you left. So that's why I do that.
That's wonderful. So we ask at the end of all of our interviews, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
roller coaster theme park designer.
Wow.
Did you play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
I played every roller coaster theme park game known to man. I still, I mean, my girlfriend will tell you this right now. I still like analyze and design stuff and look at roller coasters, and I can tell you what come out of Disney World in the next 5 years.
Whoa.
Like, I'm deep into that culture.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I haven't thought about Roller Coaster Tycoon in years.
me
I
neither.
played that religiously on the
Same.
computer as a
It
kid.
keeps me
Yeah.
sane. It's just, again, letting your imagination go. What can you do to send people hurling around and trying to throw up or something? Like, I don't know, some type of joy in that to me.
That might be the best answer we've heard so far.
Oh, definitely. And I love
awesome.
that the dream has never really
Yeah.
died.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
no,
You're
no,
still
no,
into
no,
it.
No. Disney gets my money. Disney gets my money.
That's
Cool.
incredible. Well,
Cool.
Malcolm, thank you so much for joining us on Completely Booked.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Congratulations
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank
on
you
the
so
show.
much. Thank you.